If it's still on. Music.
I'm hearing you. Good
Morning,
morning, good morning, good
talking.
morning, everyone. Once again, we are here with program
Could hear you. No
Terrestrial
tweeting.
Time. And before we get into the program, meet up the program, I asked Sister Allison, to bring this morning's devotion. Sister Allison, good morning, and you're here again.
Good morning, Pastor. Good morning to our guests. Good morning to the you. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes.
Good morning, Pastor.
Sister
Can you hear
Allison?
me?
Oh, yeah, I'm hearing you. Sister Allison?
Yes, Pastor.
Yes. Good morning, and
Are you
yeah, I'm hearing you all the time.
You. God bless this moment and His Spirit so that He will stay.
Sister Allison?
Yes, Pastor.
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. This morning, let us meditate on the fact that God created all this. God was there from the beginning. God gave His word, and many people do not believe that that's true. So we have a problem that some people will not believe today, but I have a witness. My witness is the Holy Spirit, God, and the Father, and creating us. So in this time of trouble, this time when the world is going through all kinds of things that used to be right now, right in
Not sure we can go with that. Sister Allison, we are not hearing you. I don't know if we can continue.
No. Yes, you hearing me now?
Yes, and we are live, and go ahead.
All right. Yes. I'm just speaking about the Genesis and life and creation. God created man on the 6th day. God created man and He called their name Adam. And so this is the wording of the Bible. He created them male and female, created He them. And He blessed them, and the Lord put them in a garden, a beautiful garden. And in this beautiful garden, they were meant to enjoy, to have everything that they needed, to be happy, to be properly fulfilled as the human beings that He had made them. And God then stopped all of His work. So the final thing that God created physically was man. Then God rested, and He hallowed the day, which is called the 7th day. And He put man in that day. And He said, this day was made for you. It was made for you to reflect and to recognize me as the creator, to realize where your blessings and all good things come from, to see that you had no contribution to make except to enjoy all that I put here for you. And this is what God did on the 7th day. So He says to us in the New Testament, man was not made for the Sabbath, but the Sabbath was made for man, so that man could connect with their creator. Without this connection, there was no electrical charge. There was no Holy Spirit. There was no oil. There was no, all these things that we learn that make us who we are. This is what God is to us. He is our connection with Him. and to all the greatness of the universe. He's the creator. And if we are not connected to him, then we have trouble. For instance, Jesus said, I am the true vine and you are the branches. So if you cut a branch from a tree, what will happen? It will wither and die if we cut ourselves away from God, our creator. He says, I am the good shepherd. So all through man's lifetime, we are guided. He says, I am the good shepherd who leads you. The Lord is my shepherd, and because of me, you shall not want. Because of me, you are led beside still waters. Your soul is restored. Your spirit is revived. And this is why we celebrate the Sabbath. It's not that we celebrate and we hallow a day. We hallow the day because of what we gain in that day, what we remember in that day. And all the things that all the 6 days wears away. We wear down. It's like a motor car. Your oil going down and your water going down and your gas going down. And you come into the gas station on the Sabbath day and replenish and restore and refresh. And you drive out of that gas station at the end of the Sabbath, refreshed, restored, and full of vigor and energy. And whatever is needed to keep you going perfect. And this is why we call this Sabbath day a day of rest, restoration. So those of us who do not yet have the Sabbath are not blessed yet with using that day to connect with God, your creator. Let us do that. Let us try doing that and see what it feels like. For there's a blessing in store for you. This is my word to all those who listen. Worship God who created all things and come out of the Babylonian world, for it is against God. This is the word from God this morning to all his people. Amen.
Amen. I want to thank you, Sister Alison. But before I go into my special guest, I just want to have one announcement here. Hope Amid the Crisis. And this is an evangelistic series that is conducted by Pastor Vernon Sagan. And it's at the corner of Funrose and Clare Street in San Fernando. And the date is from the 2nd of June the 2nd to the 29th. It is from Sunday to Wednesday and Friday. So Thursday is a rest. So it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And this is at the corner of Funrose and Clare Street. And it is conducted by Pastor Vernon Sagan. Hope amidst the crisis. And we are indeed a crisis. And we are inviting all those in and around San Fernando to come and listen and be blessed. Now, this morning I have with us Dr. Isaac Fordyce. Now, Dr. Fordyce had been with us when we were at another place many, many years ago. And I just ran into Dr. Fordyce again a couple of weeks ago in New York, and we hit up again. And this morning, I want to present, I'm not going to any word to the wise, I want to give Dr. Fordyce full time and attention this morning. And Doc, good morning and welcome again to Victorious Lifestyle. Doc, Doc, you need to unmute your mic. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I hear you clearly.
Good
How are
morning.
you this morning?
Very well, thank you. Very well. How are you doing?
It might not be as good as you, but I'm hoping.
Okay. It's okay. At least we're still in the vertical position.
Oh yes. Before we begin anything, I want you to give us a quick profile of Dr. Fordyce so that people know who they are speaking to this.
I am a naturopath. In that I practice alternative medicine. I have a degree from Trinity, several degrees from Trinity College of Natural Health, and I have a practice in New York, I have an office in Georgetown, Guyana, and I do virtual consultation with folks that has challenges and stuff like that. But I'm just an ordinary person whose passion is to promote health and to speak of health and to help people to understand where they're at and help them to function or to live in the way our body was designed to function.
Okay. Now, I have been promoting this program as Women's Health and Diet. So I will start right there where the promotion ends. That is, what is the one thing a woman should know about herself that most women don't know? Because when we speak about women's health, it seems so broad. And you would think that a woman from a child, from a teenager, her parents will pass on certain things to her. So I'm asking this morning, two men are speaking about women's health. So I'm asking this morning, what should a woman know about herself that she doesn't as now know?
It's a good question. I ask the question most often. That's why I think that some women, or most women do not know. And to question it, do you know what are the hormones that control your body, your hormones? How many are there? And to my surprise, many of them do not know. Some women will say, well, estrogen, they will get as far as estrogen or progesterone and they're lost and they do not know. And I think that is one thing that is important, that you should know the hormones by which your body is being controlled by, because a woman would know better than anyone else that every day of the week or every week of the month, she's a different person. She becomes a different person. There are times when she just don't want to be bothered. There are times when she don't want no one to touch her. There are times when she craves certain type of food. There are sometimes when she's in a cleaning mood. There's a time when she's in the chicken. All these moods are controlled by different hormones that are in play. Therefore, if you don't know your hormones and which one is in control this week or tomorrow or next week, then it's most likely that you will work against your hormone. And when you work against your hormone, when you eat against your hormone, when you do things that is not in coherence with your hormone, then it throws everything out of balance. So for the most part, most women hormones are out of balance and they do not know, and they don't know what to do. Their husband or partners do not know how to relate to them because of these fluctuating hormones. So I think that it's important that women know what these hormones are and which one is in control, which at whatever time of the month they are. Even if you're menopausal, your hormones, even though some of them, estrogen is not where it's supposed to be, but where it was before. But at the same time, you should know where your hormones are. Your hormones are estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and it's a lot of stuff to go into the hormonal stuff, but we can always talk about it another time. But the important thing is that women are stressed out, and when we're stressed out, they produce cortisol, which is a hormone that is released by your adrenal gland, which is your stress gland, and so we have to know what to do. And when women hug, or when their love is expressed to them, or when they feel love, then they produce oxytocin, which is the next hormone to neutralize cortisol, or stress hormone. So women need to know, they need to look into that, need to ask their primary care about the hormones that control in their body, so that they can able to live in accordance with those hormones, because God created them that way. They're different than us, than men. They have certain controlling factors, and God created that. And if you don't know your own body, then how am I supposed to know as a male? So these are things that need to be addressed where women are concerned. They need to understand who they are and what they need to do.
but Doc, how they go about doing that? I'm listening to you carefully. How would a woman go about knowing these moods that you are speaking about? These hormones that you are speaking
The hormone. Well, the thing is that after, I mean, they can get this from the primary care basically, but after a woman's cycle, at the end of a woman's cycle, that is the menstrual cycle, the hormone that is in control, the hormone that is in play, is the hormone of estrogen. Estrogen is the one that takes charge, that is in control, that you're hyper, you tend to want to do things, your activity, you want to get projects done and stuff like that. Those are the hormones. You want to eat food that are high carbohydrate food because you have this craving, because you have this high energy. So estrogen at the first week or so of toward before you get to ovulation or the middle of the cycle, the estrogen lines the walls of the uterus with this bloody mass. And at ovulation, where an egg is released from the follicles and makes its way down into the fallopian tubes and then to get into the uterus. If pregnancy occurs at that point in time, progesterone comes into place, and that holds the bloody mass in place until, if something happened, if there was no pregnancy occurs, then it sloughs off. At the end of that cycle, testosterone plays that very subtle role, and coming to the end of the cycle, and so it starts all over again. So, I mean, it's a lot more than what I'm saying, but you can look into this. You can ask your primary care about the information and how to. You can, if you want to reach out to me on another platform, either WhatsApp or email, that kind of stuff, I can able to explain to them some more as to what are the hormones and how to deal with them, and how you know when you're in this sphere of your life or your week and stuff like that.
These are recent studies you are speaking about. So,
Yes.
so these risk factors, how it is labeled, because you are saying something to me that I'm hearing for the second time, and the first time I heard it was from you. So how has modern studies dealt with these risk factors?
How is they?
What does recent studies say about health risks as far as these things are concerned?
Yeah, the recent studies show that the health risk is very high. When your hormones are out of balance, there are a number of things that can happen. The studies have shown that 1 out of 2 women will develop heart disease, which is the number 1 killer of women, not only in America.
Doc, you said 1 out of 2, you know.
Yes, 1 out of 2. 1 out of 2 of them will experience some form of cardiovascular disease, heart disease. And women are more difficult to diagnose for whatever reason. I don't know all the intricacy of it, but it is said that women are more difficult to diagnose with heart disease. Women have a tendency to tolerate the pain or the symptoms of heart disease. It is also said that most women wait until the last minute, and some of them, when they call an ambulance or go to the hospital, some of them die on their way to the hospital because they're so difficult to diagnose, and they have a tendency to ignore these symptoms of cardiovascular disease, heart disease, strokes. 1 out of 3 will develop cancer of some form. And some of these cancers are hormonal and things like that. However, cancer is named based on the area of the body that defines himself, but the cancer is a cancer is a cancer. Okay, some people say some of them are more aggressive than others. Well, cancer is just sometimes you can look at it. Cancer is your body way of dealing with a problem, and some people think that you get sick when you as a result of developing or diagnosed with cancer. I beg to disagree. You were sick, then your body developed cancer. And the sickness, I mean your hormonal imbalances, your stress, and all the rest of it. Whatever form of sickness that you might be dealing with, you might not be aware of it, but you get sick and then you develop cancer. So those are another risk factors. And then we have like 5 in 1 that would develop diabetes, which is becoming very rampant recently. So those are some of the major disease. High blood pressure, which is related to cardiovascular. These are some of the statistics that show that women have a high risk of developing these symptoms of diseases because they have a tendency to ignore, they have a tendency to take care of others and leave themselves undone, and things like that. So women need to pay more attention to themselves. I was speaking to someone yesterday, and I asked the question, when last did you speak to the person that is you? When last you spoke to Mary? And it was like, I don't talk to myself. Well, I think you should start doing, because you know what, God created us in his likeness and image. He created his body and allow us to live in it. And it's our responsibility to take care of this person that he's entrusted to us. And we need to, what I call mirror talk. You need to look at that person in the mirror, that person that's looking back at you. You need to reassure that person how beautiful they are, how courageous they are, how whatever it is that's going on, you need to talk to that person and let them reassure them that you are going to take care of them. You're going to make sure that they're okay. You're going to understand them. You're going to feel what they are feeling, because women have a tendency to ignore stuff. I mean, men does it ignore. Men wait until something falls off and then they go to the doctor and ask that the doctor put it back together. But women have a tendency, even though to go to the doctor more often, they have a tendency to ignore certain symptoms. They do not pay attention to this. So those are some of the risk factors that are out there today. And definitely women need to listen to their body, need to pay more attention to themselves.
A woman at risk for developing these diseases without a history. I know usually when you go to a doctor, they ask you, have you had this in the family? Have you had that? Is this in the family? And can a woman develop these wasting, debilitating diseases without having a history?
Yes, you don't have to have a history, especially in today's society. And this is my reason for determining that you don't necessarily have to treat, because I have people that I deal with that has cancer, don't have anyone in their history, no one in their life, in their family tree that has cancer or diabetes, but they have it because there is another study that came out recently from Harvard University that states that 10 to 15% of the disease that affects the people of the world today is as a result of genetic makeup, what you were born with, what you inherited, tendencies, stuff like that. 90 to 95% of it is as a result of epigenetic. What is epigenetic? Epigenetic is the environment to which we expose our body to. It's a lifestyle, basically. So most of the disease that people are facing today, cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, Alzheimer's, they are as a result of lifestyle. You live your life, and that influences our cells. Because if whether you have a predisposition or not, there are certain type of lifestyle traits, habits that we do, food, that turns our gene on or turn them off. And so we have to be mindful about the environment. We exposed to so much chemicals in our house and on the outside. We put so much chemicals in our bodies, and all these things influence our genes. Our body expresses itself, because disease, in my opinion, is an immune expression. Your body is expressing itself. That is you put it in a compromising position that it cannot deal with it. So we have to be mindful of the fact that we can develop a symptom of a disease because I don't. I there's only one disease, and that disease is over-acidification of our tissue, and that over-acidification is a result of our lifestyle or epigenetic. Okay, there's what we're experiencing as cancer and diabetes and high blood pressure and all of these. They are symptoms of this one disease. They are not disease. They are symptoms. They are telling you that there is something wrong. Your body is out of balance, and as a result, you need to take the necessary step to bring your body back into balance. It's all about balance. Our body is not about alkaline or acid. Our body is about balance. Some people say, "Oh, you have to be more alkaline." You cannot continue throughout the day. Your body cannot maintain alkalinity. You go back and forth based on what you. But if we have the right kind of minerals, the nutrients in our body, then our body is going to pull from this resources, from the resources or storage, in order to neutralize those acids to keep our body where it's supposed to be. So you don't necessarily have to have a genetic defect. If you have a genetic defect over a history, then you ought to be much more careful about your environment, about what you put into your mouth, and how and be selective in the kind of food. You got to eat sensibly. Years ago, our parents and grandparents, they ate differently than we are eating today. And these are some of the things that influences a person's genetic makeup. And if we pay attention to those simple things, it will make a lot of difference in our lives.
So when you say keeping it in balance, I mean there are so many theories as far as diet is concerned. How do I go out, or how would a woman be able to go out to say that this is what I need to do to keep myself in balance? How is that done?
Yeah, there is nothing like primary nutrition. We have to eat sensible. You have to avoid the foods that are you have to avoid fried food as much as possible because they're not healthy. They're not good enough for our cardiovascular system. We need to eat food that are plant-based, food that's grown. Go back to your ancestors and see what they ate, and you would understand that what it is, because they ate food as grown. Now everything that you look to eat is packaged, is processed, and because of these processed food, most of the nutrients are processed out, so it's very difficult. So you have to go back to the basic where you eat food is grown. If you're living in a community and somebody's planting a garden or a farm, and you can buy the excess vegetables from them that is not using fertilizers and all these chemicals, you do that. If not, you have to take precaution as to how you approach your diet, because women, sometimes some of them doesn't understand, but not only your health is you're responsible for the health of your entire family, because your family is dependent upon what you present to them, and because of the fact we live in a society where women are in the workforce and those kind of things, it takes away from their time and their ability to prepare wholesome and sensible food for their family, and so because of the society we're living in, adults and children are always eating on the go, and they eat. It's easier to get something packaged, and people use it for convenience sake, but we got to understand that the people that are mass producing this food, they don't have our interests at heart, or they're only concerned about their physical health. They're not concerned about our physical health, and we have to be more selective in the kind of food you choose to eat. I mean, I can't get into all the details of all the foods that you should look for, all the supplements that you take, because that's something that we have to do these days, because the food today does not have the nutritional value they used to have years ago. So we have to supplement our food with different type of supplement. You want to make sure that you take your vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin C. You want to take omega-3 fatty acids. You want to avoid certain type of oils. You want to incorporate ghee. If you want to use ghee, use butter, no margarine. You want to use coconut oil. You want to use olive oil. Avoid canola oil, vegetable oil. Those are some of the oils, fats you want to avoid. But you want to eat more of, 65% of your diet should be about fats and the healthy fats. And then you have like probably maybe 20% of your diet is supposed to be in carbohydrate and the rest in protein. So those are some of the things that you can do, women can do to choose to make a healthy lifestyle, to make healthy choices, not only for themselves, but for the entire family.
I don't know if this is an overlap, but if I have to give a step-by-step process, I know people love having these step-by-step approaches for alcoholics, for whatever. They usually follow a step-by-step process. In fact, as I say step-by-step process is easier to process.
Mm-hmm.
So I put in other words. So what if you have to give me a step-by-step? I know you have said a lot of things there about the foods and things, but if you have to give me a step-by-step process in a woman, whether she is has the disease or not, if you have to give me a step-by-step process, what would it be?
Okay, the first thing that I would recommend to a woman is that you have to go through a fast, a detoxification, and the first form of detoxification has to do with your emotions, has to do with your has to do with your own emotion, because every physical manifestation of a symptom of a disease has an emotional beginning. There are some people that are in our lives that we need to detox, that they need to detox themselves. Women have a lot, as the ability to carry stuff around for the most part. They suppress a lot of things. You would ask them what's happening or what's going on, and they would say everything is okay. They'll be crying, and what's okay, everything is okay. And so that's the first thing you have to do. They have to detox themselves of those emotional stuff that they're suppressing. They need to talk about it. They need to get it out. They need to bring it to consciousness and get rid of it. That's the first form of detoxification. And by doing so, you change your thoughts. You change your thoughts, you change your life. And following that, you need to do that physical detoxification, and by avoiding certain food, remove certain type of food from your diet. And that detoxification can also incorporate fasting. Fasting is very, 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 very good, very important, and very helpful to cleanse your body, to detoxify. You fast because our body runs on two things: fat and carbohydrate. If we bring in carbohydrates, if we eat breakfast this morning, our body's going to run on that carbohydrate in order to sustain it. But if we do not eat breakfast, let's say we had our breakfast or dinner last night at 6 o'clock, and you didn't eat breakfast now, your body is in that state where it's going to burn fat, or it's going to produce ketones, and ketones give you more energy than carbohydrate, and then your body is going to burn fat. If you still don't eat at 10 o'clock, your body is going to continue to burn fat. And if you don't eat at 12 o'clock, your body is going to burn fat. Now, what is breakfast? Breakfast is your first meal as a result of the last meal you had. So if you don't eat until 11, 12 o'clock, you're talking about you've been fasting for about 14, 15 hours. So in that process of time, your body is burning fat. So if you want to lose weight, that's a good way for you to detoxify. Go on a fast, try it for 12 to 14 hours. And then next 2 weeks, you go for probably a longer period of time. Fasting is very important. Fasting is very good to help the body to detoxify. And then you will remove certain type of food from your diet. I would take away certain type of food from your diet, food that doesn't sit well with your body, doesn't sit well with your hormone, and then we will take it from there.
Doc Sikapin, I want to go back to the
Mm-hmm.
not having breakfast and these things. But somewhere I heard that these are part of the causes for diabetes by missing, because the body begin to produce its own insulin. I don't. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I mean, diabetes is a different thing. There are different causes of reason why some people develop diabetes. Basically, diabetes is a result of inflammation, or the definition is basically too much sugar or glucose in the blood. Glucose and every other hormones and nutrients and nutrition and fats, all these things, the final destination is in the cells. In the cell, every cell, 75 trillion cells, whether it be heart cells, kidney cells, brain cells, these nutrients and hormones and the glucose find themselves in the cell. That's where they're supposed to be. That's where the manufacturing of energy. So when someone is lethargic and don't have energy because the stuff is not getting in the cell, what happens is that they over a period of time, I mean, it's a lot to get into, where the cells are concerned. Over a period of time, if you have this diet that is up and down, yo-yo diet and things like that, it creates a problem for the body. And so your cells develop a membrane, and the outside of the cell develop a membrane, because so much insulin has been released into the body. Give me a second, please. Let me just grab something. 1 second.
For those who have just joined us, we are listening to Dr. Isaac Fordyce, and he's speaking to us on the issue of women's health. He has been covering why women need to take care of the health, to have these conversations with themselves, to understand their different moods, to understand that the changes will come with changes in the diet, and nothing is constant. He's saying that we as women, you need to know yourself, know the time when you feel that no one should talk to you, know the time you feel excited, know the time you feel. He said, but because these times, what I've gotten from him thus far, has a lot to do with how your health will be affected eventually. I asked a question now. He spoke about fasting. When you fast, he said, is a good way when you fast, the way that your fat is burnt, the way that you control weight. So I asked a question, but I heard it somewhere that missing meals, especially these morning meals, can lead to the whole idea of diabetes. And this is where he is answering that question about the fasting and the issue of diabetes. Dr. Fordyce, I see you are back.
Yes, I'm back. Yeah. Okay. So on every cells of our body, they have what is called a receptor sites, or I call them docking station. There's the receptor site for hormones, the receptor site for nutrients, for certain vitamins and certain type of fats. And these are supposed to get into the cells. That's where they're needed. All the minerals, they're supposed to be in there. Now, these receptor sites, they get clogged because of inflammation, because of a lot of things that's going on in your body, the kind of food that your body is protecting itself. So these cells, the docking station, they either get occupied by something else, or I'm putting it in a simple language, they get occupied, and then in the case of diabetes or sugar. Now, insulin is produced by your pancreas, and insulin has this key that opens up these little doors on the cell, on every cell, to let glucose in. Because there's so much going on in the body, because our diet is so crazy, we eat this, we get up in the morning. Let me go back here for a little bit, because it's a lot to explain at one session. This is one program by itself. You get up in the morning and your blood sugar is probably, let's say it's on a 5 on the scale from 1 to 10. And if you don't eat breakfast within a certain time, that blood sugar continues to drop. Okay. And it will get to 2, that's when you start to feel hungry and all the rest of it. But quite often times what we do, what we have for breakfast is high glucose, is high sugar, high carbohydrate. So what does that do? It spikes your sugar up. And now your sugar's going to 7, going to 8, going to 9. Okay. And then you're at this high now, you're okay. And within half an hour again, you feel hungry again, and this blood sugar starts to drop. And because of this fluctuation of insulin, because every time the sugar goes up, insulin is released in order to neutralize the sugar. Anytime you're stressed out, just every time you're stressed out, every time you're angry, that's why I said before, every physical manifestation of a disease has an emotional beginning. Anytime you're stressed out, the kidneys are affected. When you're angry, your liver is affected. And when you get resentment, and it affects your gallbladder. So all these things happen. And every time this goes on, your pancreas releases insulin, because the stress hormone is a fight or flight situation going on, and your body doesn't know if you're being chased by a lion or a dog or nothing. Your body just does what it's supposed to do, because when stress is induced, adrenaline and cortisol, your body does what it's supposed to do. It releases insulin, releases glycogen that is stored in your liver, which is stored glucose. And if glucose is released into the bloodstream, then the next thing is that pancreas has to release insulin in order to neutralize it. And if you don't fight or run, then your body stores that energy, that fat, that glucose, your body stores it back as fat. That's why most people carry fat in the midsection. That's where we store it. So it's another session all by itself. But the problem is there with diabetes is that when sugar is in the blood, and now just imagine that you have houses on the street. I don't know all the streets in Trinidad, but wherever. Your houses are on each side of the streets where you're living. Now, this street would represent your bloodstream. These houses on the side of the street are the receptor sites. Okay. And the blood is in there. Now, if you want to get into any one of these houses, you have to call this guy with this master key, which is insulin. Insulin has a master key to get into all these houses. But when insulin comes to open up the doors, either the key can't fit or the door can't open. As with the door can't open. So when that happens, now you have all this sugar in the blood, with the bloodstream. The sugar is not needed in the bloodstream, it's supposed to be in the cell. So the problem is not of diabetes is not it's not that you eating too much sugar. It's because the glucose or the sugar is not getting into the cell where it's needed. And the reason why it's not getting it is because there's inflammation, the cell going on. It's called insulin resistant. When there is so much insulin going in and out of the bloodstream, your body becomes insensitive to the insulin. So it's like the story with the guy that cried wolf, 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 and one day there was no wolf. Your body become insensitive to it, and as a result, they have too much blood sugar in the blood, and so the body have to do what is best. So the body sends the raw sugar to your kidneys in order to dump it, because your body's going to find some way to dump it, because you're going to have this frequent urination, you have the frequent thirst, because your body's craving water to neutralize the sugar, and so you keep dumping it, and then it affects your nerves and all of it. So diabetes is something that can be controlled or eradicated, because you just have to know where to start. So on a step-by-step thing, those are some of the steps that you would take in order to identify the source of the problem, because your diabetic situation can be different from the other person, the other woman who has diabetes, and the other person that has diabetes. We're all unique because God created us that way.
I stopped you because you were on a run giving us the whole step by step, and then you spoke about the sugar, and then I asked you more about it. But so you can continue where you were going, if you can remember where you were going.
Yeah. The sugar, you stop with this step by step. Okay, so
yes.
after we would have stopped, we would have got the detoxification under control, and then the fasting is where you would it's another form of detoxification, and then we would reintroduce back certain type of food, because you want to identify the food that are toxic to you. You got to identify the food that doesn't sit well with your body, and then we start on a different path, because the objective is to support the body, but not to treat any disease. Whether you have a disease or not, that is not important. Most people place importance upon disease or the symptom of disease. You cannot place importance on a disease, whether it be cancer, diabetes, or whatever. You cannot treat cancer, and that's one of the reasons why they have not won this battle against cancer. Because since 1987, I think it was, when Nixon declared a war against cancer, they're walking miles every year. They're walking miles. They're contributing how many millions of dollars. But yesterday there is no cure inside where medical science is going. Or even if no, they're not letting people know. But you cannot treat cancer, you cannot treat diabetes, you cannot treat heart disease, you cannot treat high blood pressure. You have to treat the body that is diseased. My objective is to help you to bring your body back into balance. And these are the steps that we take. Because the reason why why you're in that state is because your body is lacking nutrition, lacking hormonal support, lacking in whatever area. So we have to identify those lacks and help the body to get back into the balance. Because as long as you give the body what it needs, her body will correct itself, because God created it with that innate ability. It's a self-healing, self-regulating organism. God created that way. So those are some of the steps that I would recommend to a person to start. You start by detoxifying, changing your thoughts, changing your mind about life. Look at that person in the mirror and let them know that you're going to change. You're going to do things differently. You change that by the first form of detoxification, physical detoxification. You remove certain foods from your diet and you fast. Avoid food. Basically, I think sometimes we eat too much. We are accustomed in the Caribbean, especially, we eat 3 straight square meals a day. That's too much. We're eating too much food, because you eat breakfast and by 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, you're eating again. And 6, 7 o'clock, you're eating again. It takes about 8 to 12 hours for protein to get out of your stomach. And if you eat kalu and saltfish and whatever it is for breakfast, that stuff is still in your stomach by lunchtime. Your stomach haven't processed that out, and then you bring more again at 11, 12 o'clock, and then you bring more again. Our body does not have time to process those waste out and to correct itself. When we go to bed at night, our body is in stress, is in a survival mode, trying to process this stuff out. And then you wake up in the morning, you can't wait till the morning again, you stuff something, you put stuff in your mouth again. So we eat too much. So by fasting, we're giving our body a chance to correct itself. We're giving our body an opportunity to get rid of waste. You drink water. That's all you drink. Water. Drink water. Drink water, and your body will detoxify itself. You want to lose weight, your body will lose the weight. It will burn the fat, because it will dump the acid. Because acid, as a matter of fact, sometimes I tell people that the fat that you have is what's keeping you alive, because excess acid is stored in your fat cells. So if you want to lose weight, neutralize the acids, and your body will get rid of the weight. Those are some of the steps.
I want to say, those who would like to ask a question, they could put it in the chat on the YouTube or Facebook. But I want to ask a question. When you say the fat keeping you alive, so as a skinny guy like therefore I'm in big trouble. Is that what you're saying? Yes,
because people think that being slim, it's okay to be slim and everything, but if there is too much acid that is generated, or for whatever reason, either your diet is too acidic, or you're dealing with acidic situation, then these acids are gets into the bloodstream. The body has to find some way to get rid of it. It sends it to the liver, sends it to your kidneys, it sends it to your lymphatic system, through your skin, and all the rest of it. So if you have no way to store this acid, it can change the pH of your blood. The pH of our blood is controlled by our body, 7.365. That's where it is. And 1 point above or below, you could be dead. And that can be changed with too much acid in our blood.
What is the cure? Can there any cure for these diseases? I know you spoke about diet and you spoke about the structure, you spoke about the discipline, you spoke about detoxification. But if somebody out there listening and they say, well, what is the cure for these?
The simple answer to that question is that one has to start to pay attention to their body, to stay attention, because every disease, in my opinion, every disease or symptom of disease can be cured. Not everyone will be cured, because it's all about what you think. It's all about your thoughts. You change your thoughts, you change your mind. And quite often time, I have people that come to see me, and they would say that my doctor say that I have to do this, or I can. This disease is not going to be cured, and I learned to leave them alone, because if you're telling me that your doctor say that this disease is not going to be cured, or you know that you're not going to get well, then let's break out the shovels. You'd be slow singing and slow marching, because you already told yourself it's not going to happen. And for your information, the cells of your body understand English language, and they are listening, and they are working accordingly. Okay, they're processing stuff accordingly, and if they're hearing that this plant is going to shut down, it's like working in a automotive plant or whatever, and then there's the impending strike because of whatever, and the word get around that they're going to be a strike, or they're going to close the plant down. Ain't nobody doing nothing. Everybody going to go slow. So your body is not in a state of correcting itself, because you already told them that this plant is going to shut down sooner or later. Or you go to a doctor and the doctor tell you only have 2 months to live. Yeah, your cells are that very well, and you walk out to that place and you're depressed. You go to a doctor and they diagnose you with cancer, the worst thing you want to hear. You're a different person when you're going from when you after you come out of there. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of men don't like to go to the doctor, because they're afraid of the result of the diagnosis. They don't let me, what I don't know, let it kill me. What I know, let it kill me. But every disease can be cured, but not everyone will be. And again, it comes back to the point that God did not pull out us out of an assembly line. God took his time. Everything that, and the sister that did the opening remarks mentioned that God created us. We're the only thing that God created. Everything else God spoke into existence. God spoke them into existence, and God said, "Let us make man in our own image and likeness," which means that God has endowed us with the ability to speak things in or out of our lives. We can speak life into our lives. We can speak death into our lives. It's about what we tell ourselves. It's about what we saying to ourselves, what we saying to on a daily basis. There's an acronym that I use called TFAR: thoughts, feelings, action, result. TFAR. Our thoughts determines how we feel. How we feel will dictate our action, and our action will dictate action, or inaction will dictate the results that we get. So it's very simple. Living healthy is very simple. It's not easy sometimes, because you have to make these tough choices. Sometimes you have a craving for certain things, but you have to eat sensibly. And that's one of the things that we have to eat sensibly. And most time we do not. We eat for 3 reasons: because it looks good and we think it tastes good, and then when we eat it, we feel bad, and we eat ice cream or we eat chocolate to make ourselves feel better. It doesn't make sense. People do things for one of 2 reasons: either to avoid pain or to gain pleasure.
Before we go, I want to say to you that ice cream and chocolate does make you feel better. Well, something you said earlier is that oh gosh, it's slipping out. You said the food do not contain, because of how the food is now processed, and I mean processed in both ways. I mean bringing it into being and making it be kept longer. You said because of that, it is okay to take what they call it,
Supplements.
supplements. So you hold to that, because I know a lot of folks who are doing naturopath would say no to the supplements, and the food will give you. You need to get the food to get all the stuff that you need. It's a controversial point, but let me hear you on that before you go.
100 years ago, yes, you didn't need supplement. You didn't need supplement. And for those of you from the Caribbean, years ago, when I was a child growing up, in the 80s, 70s, 60s, and 80s, your boy plantain or banana, green banana. When you look in the water in the pot, you see your face. That's how black the water is. Because of the mineral content of the water, because of the mineral content for the vegetables they buy. Today you buy plantain or whatever in the water, and the water is still the same color. Because there's no nutritional value. The value is very, very low. I mean, it's ridiculous. The earth is losing its value, its nutritional value. It's it doesn't have, and they try to put back in the dirt the stuff to replenish it, but you can't do that. Most of the stuff that they put on the ground, so pesticide and all that kind of, they kill the microbes in the ground. And those microbes, they play an important role in the ground in producing certain minerals and chemicals. They make the earth porous so that air can circulate. You don't have you hardly have earthworms anymore. You go to the cow pen and you will see these worms that you don't see them things anymore, because the earth has lost its value and a lot of stuff. So we have to supplement our diet to get those concentrated form, and you just can't buy any supplement. You have to be sensible about that also, because it's a money thing out there. Everybody's selling supplement, so you have to know which supplement is good for you, which is right for you. And there is a simple test you can do. I'm gonna give him two tests that you can do at home to determine two things. For those of you who don't have a thermometer, get one of those thermometers, the digital, not the digital one, the one that you shake down. Get one of those, and if you suspect, there are two tests you can do with that. If you suspect that you're allergic to a food, or you want to test a food to see if you're sensitive to it, not allergic to it, sensitive to it. Let's say you want to test a piece of gluten, for instance, if you're sensitive to gluten, because a lot of people are sensitive to and don't know. So you take a piece of bread, little piece, not a whole slice of bread. You take a little piece of slice of bread when you, to bed the night before. You take the thermometer, shake it down, put it to the night on the nightstand next to the bed. When you wake up in the morning, before you go to the bathroom, don't get up, just reach over, take the thermometer, put it under your arm, under your tongue, and see what the reading is. And record that. Eat a piece of bread, just lay there, eat it, and then you wait 15 minutes and you test it again to see where the numbers are. Okay. If the numbers are higher, because the resting is supposed to be 98.6, if it's higher after you would have eaten that bread, it means that you're sensitive to whatever it is that you're testing, the bread or anything else. Okay, it means that you test it. Another way you can determine also is that the function of your thyroid is called a basal body temperature. You can do that and determine whether you're suffering hypothyroidism, or you're hypo. If you want to lose weight and you're not losing the weight, check your thyroid and see what's going on, because your thyroid comes responsible for your metabolism, how well you burn fat and everything else. So that can help to determine whether you're hypothyroidism or hyper. Okay. And there was another one, don't remember what it is right now. Another test that you can do. If you go to the market and you want to buy something, whatever it is, you can ask your body. You can ask your body if this is right for it. Let's say you see an apple, and you want to check if your body it will it's energetic with your body, or your body needs it. Or people might think you're crazy, but you hold it towards your heart and close your eyes and see which way you're going to feel like you're falling. If you're falling backward, it means that you don't need it. If you feel like you're falling forward, then your body needs it.
Okay.
Our body cannot lie. Our body will never, ever lie to us.
I have to hear you again on this. As you said, I'm a man from Indian Walking Burger. So when you start to see things like that, it start to get me kind of troubled a bit.
Yeah.
So I will hear you again on this now.
Yes.
Dr. Isaac Fordyce, we have been speaking to this morning. I want to say to have a blessed day, my brother. Thanks for coming on. And we'll talk during the week. And
yes, definitely.
Then, may the God Lord continue to protect you, your family, protect your ministry. And when all is said and done, we pray that His coming will be soon, and all of us will meet together in a time where we have no need to discuss things like these. Until that time, I say, Maranatha. You have a blessed day, my brother.
Thank you, Pastor. I appreciate it. Thank you. And thanks to everyone. And if anyone has any question, they can always channel it through you, either my WhatsApp or my email address, whichever one works for them.
Yeah, I would. If anybody reach out to me, I would. I know the doc wouldn't mind me sharing it with you. So be blessed, everybody.
Thank you.
Until next week, same time,
yeah,
same place.
Be well.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Yeah.